Welcome to Bicycle Retail Radio, presented by the National Bicycle Dealers Association. This is where bicycle retailers, industry innovators, and advocates come together for real conversations about what's happening right now in bike retail, from cargo bikes to carbon fiber. Each episode explores the challenges you're facing, the opportunities ahead, and the people driving our industry forward. We go beyond the surface to uncover practical strategies, fresh perspectives, and authentic stories from shop owners who've been where you are. Whether you're navigating staffing challenges, adapting to market shifts, or looking for your next breakthrough idea, this is your community. Since 1946, the NBDA has been in the trenches with specialty bicycle retailers, providing education, advocacy, and connection when you need it most. Want to be a part of this community? Learn more about NBDA membership at nbda.com.
Let's be honest, running a bike shop is a lot of work. Between inventory, service orders, and online sales, there's a lot to manage. That's why this episode of Bicycle Retail Radio is proudly sponsored by Lightspeed. Lightspeed powers modern retailers with advanced inventory tracking, built-in work orders, and seamless e-commerce. You can even source products right from inside your POS. If you're serious about growing your bike retail business, visit lightspeedhq.com. That's lightspeedhq.com.
Thanks for joining. I'm Heather Mason, NBDA Executive Director, and we are so happy you're here. Today we're talking about the NBDA Certified Bicycle Service Technician Microcredential. Man, the background on this one, finding and keeping great service technicians is a challenge that many retailers face. And while there's no shortage of passion in this industry, there hasn't been a recognized, standardized pathway for shops to train, credential their techs until now. We've partnered with Northwest Arkansas Community College to develop a purpose-driven certification pathway for the working bicycle technician. This is a stackable micro-credential program that fits around retail staff schedules, delivers certified training, and covers both technical skill sets as well as operational. And today we're going to explain how the program works, why it matters, what it means for your shop. This is a program that the NBDA board tasked me with bringing forward in 2021 when I became executive director. So I'm so happy to see this come forward in 2026. We presented this at our retailer summit in Bentonville, Arkansas last week and had very favorable response. So looking forward to delivering that today. So without further ado, I'm thrilled to introduce Brandon Andrews. He leads the bicycle technology program at Northwest Arkansas Community College and has been the driving force behind this initiative. Brandon, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Heather. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's so great. So I thought what we would do today in today's webinar is just start with a moment to introduce yourself and give folks a little bit on your background, on you and the program.
Absolutely. So as you said, I am the director of the Bicycle Technician Program here at Northwest Arkansas Community College, which is a handful to say, so we say NWACC. It's located here in Bentonville, Arkansas. I started out as an educator teaching high school for about 9 years. And then my passion for bikes and design placed me into retail services at Trek, where I became the lead store designer. We had a motto for our team. It was, if dealers were successful, we were successful. And I worked with IBDs and distributors all over the world. We made a difference in how shops run by aligning design to goals and continuous improvement and best practices. And I've seen firsthand, like both the talent that this industry has and then the gaps we have in creating consistent, repeatable training pathways. So I took some time after Trek to help IBDs with my own consulting company. And then this opportunity popped up and I took over the Bicycle Technician Program in November of last year. And I've been full speed since. It was really a perfect fit for my family as we transitioned to Bentonville and for me too, because it was chasing bikes again and yearning to teach again. So here at NWACC, we built our program to meet technicians where they are, whether they are just getting started or having years under their belt. The goal is simple: give people real skills they can use immediately and give shops a more reliable way to build and keep stronger service teams. So this partnership with NBDA is really about accessibility and scaling that idea nationally in a way that works for busy retail environments.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Brandon. And it's been our pleasure to work with the Northwest Arkansas Community College for going on 4 years now. We first were introduced to the program there when we held our first NBDA Retailer Summit in Bentonville, Arkansas. And it started as just a tour of your facility to see the education you were providing to mechanics and see how the industry was supporting it, to a podcast feature. And then eventually, here we are now. While we're delighted with the opportunities that exist for mechanics today, we did want to have a certification program that was easy for retailers to have their staff sign up for and something that the NBDA could get behind. It was also important to the NBDA that we had a program that covered everything from operations to the true mechanics side of things. So it's been my pleasure to work with you and your team for the past year and a half to develop this micro-credential program. Again, want to recognize the amazing other opportunities that are out there for mechanics, and all of that is great and it's driving our industry forward. But again, just wanted something that could be done virtually and with a little bit of a classroom setting that was accredited by the NBDA and could give our retailers, a really great direction to go for when they're searching for something recognized on a national level. So I just wanted to give our attendees that background. And Brandon, I know you have a presentation to share, so let's go ahead and do that. And again, attendees, please, questions as we go along and we'll answer those at the conclusion. Thanks, Brandon.
All right. All right, so if you were at the NBDA Summit last week, you might have seen most of these slides, but again, this will give you some more time to kind of think about it a little bit more. So again, here at NWACC, we have both a bicycle technician program and a trail technician program, which I'm not going to answer any questions on that one today, but you can always send those in and we can get those to the right people. So that way that'll help you in that process. So this is my current staff. This is obviously myself, Brandon Andrews. I'm the director of the program. We have Alex, who does a lot with apprenticeship coordination. So for example, if you are in Arkansas and you're a shop owner, you can actually have an apprentice come and work in your shop with one of our students who is doing the year-long program. Brent Van Epps, a longtime bicycle mechanic, owner of multiple stores over the years. He's been around the industry for a long time. Ben McGranahan, he is a race mechanic here in Bentonville. He's got a lot of great enthusiasm that he brings to our students. And then Adam and Ronnie both were previous instructors and actually helped build this program up. And so a lot to be said about the two of them, and also Ben, who was the predecessor, who you've all listened to on the Tech Talks. They all built the program and built some of the things that you were seeing today, and then also started this conversation with Microcredentials a year ago. So I want to tell you just a little bit about the credit program, even though that's not like the Microcredential, but that way you understand the differences between the two. So the program started, and the bread and butter of the program here at NWACC is the BIA certificate, which is 9 courses, 9 classes that are taught, college level classes. It's 27 credit hours. It is a certificate that you get after doing all those classes. You can also get a technical certificate if you add on 6 additional classes 6 additional credit hours, which is really typically just 2 classes from the college itself that's non-bike specific. And then you can also apply that to an Associates of Applied Science and General Technology. So that course, that set of courses, the way that's set up is you have the Intro to Bicycle Mechanics course and then a Bicycle Basics class. And then after you take those 2, then you can do any of these other 7 courses. So bicycle braking systems, bicycle drivetrain, ball bearing systems, bicycle wheel and assembly and repair, bicycle suspension systems, e-bikes, which is kind of my favorite, and bicycle service department ops. All those build up into that year-long, or you can actually do it in 1 semester program. So again, if you came to Bentonville and you decide, hey, I want to do the credit course program, and it's all in class, there are 2 online classes, but you are expected to be here in class. You can do it over 1 semester, or you can actually spread it out over a full year. So we have both tracks of programs and cohorts. So the goal of that one is, it's for somebody getting into the industry. It's those entry-level technicians. It's somebody who's like, I want a career change, or maybe they're using it as a gap year. I always joke about with parents. They want to come to a college for a gap year. And their students, their sons, their daughters, they're like, we just want to train, we want to do something and not go to college, but then go somewhere else and train. And that's what we have students do all over, which is really exciting. I say all that because that kind of leads into where we came to today, and that's this micro-credential. So it's hard for service techs who are all over the US and even the world and Canada, that for them to come here and spend a full semester or a full year doing this program and getting this training. So we, with NBDA, have created this certified bicycle service technician micro-credential. And essentially, it is 5 skills badges. So those 5 skills badges equal that micro-credential. And this is through, again, a partnership, again, continuous education that we both at NBDA and here at the school, we want to continue to pursue and make accessible for students all over. So it is for current bicycle industry employees. That means service techs, people who are in the industry, already working at shops, so that they can actually do these credentials online, and then they'll actually come and test here on campus. The theory is, well, not theory, the bicycle service department essentials will drop July 1. You can actually enroll. And if you're watching right now, you got your phone out, you can actually scan that QR code right there on the left, and it'll take you to the micro-credential page. But the idea is that first class, it's going to drop July 1. It is self-paced. So, it may take you 4 weeks to do it. It may take you, 4 months to do it. We understand that like bicycle technicians, they're busy. Last week we were all really busy. I definitely put in about 70 hours or more last week with NBDA, e-mobility, and again, Bike Fest. So I understand we're all busy. It's a busy season, but we want to make something that you can actually do at home and be achievable. And it can be something that you can, focus on when you have that downtime here and there. The other 4 classes, mechanical drivetrain, a lot of electronic drivetrain, mechanical braking, and hydraulic braking, those 4 more technical element classes, they're going to drop later in July. So that way you can actually start taking those classes too. And then those 4 have a assessment that you're going to come to Bentonville and actually do. So again, as much as we could, we put as much online as we can, but we have to see that this technician has those skills still, right? So technicians will come here, they'll test out. It's essentially for each of those classes, there's like a 3-hour hands-on technical skill demonstration where you show myself or one of the other instructors that you can hit certain elements and you meet all the needs and the requirements that we've talked about and we put in the rubric. And then there's some oral discussion, so scenario-based stuff. How do you work with customers? How do you work with problem solving? That there's a conversation for. And those 4 in-person assessments can actually just be completed over like a 2-day period here at Northwest Arkansas Community College. That also allows your staff to come down to Bentonville and get a few rides in, which I think some of them might want to do. So it's a kind of a reward for all the hard work that they putting into this course. So ultimately, we are having discussions with the industry of like, what can we do? How can we be a better partner? And so I have this slide and it has my contact information. You can write it down too. But one of the things that we've noticed is this was a need. This micro-credential was a need. And I've noticed this for years. You have like that master level technician at one shop, and then you go to another shop and then that person would really struggle, right? And so how do we figure out ways that we can help our techs and our service providers? How do we help them actually understand like the better part of the business? How do we help them have a better understanding of how all these things work together? Our old methodology of teaching bicycle techs it's not working. It's not how, and it's not how the workforce works in the world either. And so we heard that. We said, okay, micro-credential is something that we can do to at least start this process. And ultimately, I hope that we have more micro-credentials with National Bicycle Dealers Association. I hope that we can continue to build upon this, this first step of this micro-credential. But we look at what's working well, what's not, and what needs adjustments. And then what are the skills that like are really hard to find in techs or that they're lacking? Again, when you're a assembly tech and you are just kind of building bikes and you're supposed to be learning, but then you don't always have a chance to learn everything that, comes in the shop. That makes it really hard, for you to get that knowledge. And so what are those skills that are being missed when a service technician is starting out in the business? And then how do we become more valuable to not only NBDA, but then, again, the industry as a whole? How do we work with this ecosystem to make it better? Those are all like the questions that like kind of keep me up at night, and I have to focus on. I'm like, what can we do next? Again, like I said, I have this drive for education from my years of teaching, but also this love for the bicycle industry and that struggle for the IBD. Like I've always loved just supporting them, and I'm super happy to be in this place where we can now provide something like this to all of our dealers. So that was a shorter version of my presentation.
No, Brandon, this is absolutely fantastic to have you give this overview. Before I open it up to questions, I have several questions myself, but I just want to say thank you to you and your team. So the Northwest Arkansas Community College adjunct professors who were at the summit last year, sitting in the same room with the suppliers and retailers, really getting a pulse on what the industry is like right now. I think that was so beneficial to everyone because as we do move forward, service is a big part of our bicycle retail stores and what's driving profit in a lot of areas. So very thankful to have, not just you, but additional professors from Northwest Arkansas Community College. So I have a couple questions, as I said. Mechanic shortage. I hear about this all the time from retailers. How do we find qualified people? Shops struggling to find qualified people, or shops finding someone and then spending months of training someone only then to lose them, right? Like we've heard it all. So with that known, why does formal education, like specifically what we're doing here, matter? Like maybe a shop should just train someone on their own, and then like what will this provide that maybe will help someone stay in the industry longer or will make a noticeable impact that's different at the retail level?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, shops feel this every day. It's the need for trained mechanics who can start day one. On-the-job training is valuable, no question about that, right? But it is also inconsistent. So it really depends on who's doing the training and how busy the shop is. And like I said before, what happens to roll into the door that week? And that's inconsistent. That doesn't help us. So that's where a formal credential brings a few things that a job alone can't really guarantee. Number one, it's consistency. Every technician is trained in the same standard. Number two, confidence for both the tech and then also the customer, right? So that's really important that the customer knows that, your techs that are coming through have some type of credential, some type of process, right? We wouldn't take our cars to a auto shop and just be like, oh, you don't have any credentials? That's fine. You can work in my car, So again, confidence for both of those. Efficiency, it's less time guessing, more time actually executing on the product. Retention, and you mentioned this too. It's kind of a hard one because I do see, a lot of people kind of like struggling about, okay, if I bring in a tech, and I train them, what if they go somewhere else, right? And that's something that I think every industry kind of like struggles with, but that's no reason for us to stop, pushing for continuing education. That will not help our industry as a whole. That will not help our ecosystem, as we say it. So retention is like when people stay because they feel like they are growing, they're learning, they feel invested, right? I really, really want individuals when they take these courses to feel invested in how it works in their shop personally, and how they can make their shop grow, because then they're giving back to the shop. So from a shop's perspective, it moves training from reactive to intentional. And as for technicians, it gives them something, portable. It's recognized. It says, hey, I know how to do this work. Experience and speed of execution will come, but just laying that groundwork in the beginning is so important.
Francis here with an important update. Summit Canada is approaching fast. July 29th and 30th, 2026 will be here before you know it, so it's your last chance to secure your spot. We're bringing the NBDA Summit experience to Canada for the first time, and the response has been incredible. Multiple focus areas, countless opportunities to learn from the best Canadian retailers, and connect with peers from across the country. Plus, you'll meet with representatives from HLC, OGC, LTP, and Giant, the distributors who are supporting your success. If you've been waiting to register, now is the time. Don't be the shop that hears about all the breakthroughs and connections after the fact. You need to be in the room on July 29th and 30th. Here's the best part. Registration is completely free for retailers. Head to nbda.com right now and claim your spot. This is it. Summit Canada, July 29th and 30th, 2026. Register now at nbda.com. We'll see you there.
Yeah, I feel like it's a way that you're investing in your employees. You are making an investment, but I feel like if I was the employee that someone was investing in me, I would be like, wow, this is actually, I'm learning tangible skills, and this is something. And when you're getting it in an environment that you guys offer, I think that it just takes it to the next level. It's like one thing learning how to assemble a Kent or whatever brand bike in the back of the shop, but going through a structured training program or micro-credential like we've put together, I think it's a little more valuable. It's more significant. It means something. You can be proud of it, Not that knowing how to assemble a 12-inch Kent doesn't make me feel proud, but that's how I learned in the back of the shop. So it's something a little bit different there. So very, very thankful to like UBI and Appalachian, those institutes that are out there to train mechanics. We love them. They're our friends. They're on the NBDA website. But what we have here is a micro-credential model. And so we might have some people who are like, what? I know what these other things look like, but what is a micro-credential model? What does that even mean? So can you walk us through, because we made this for working technicians, so not full-time students, not thinking that shop owners could send their techs out for multiple weeks or even a week to get training. We wanted something that mechanics can keep working at your store and have this training. So can you just dive into this a little bit, like for our retailers who might be thinking, I can't lose a tech to go for training. How does this program, offer a solution that's really obtainable for all?
Yeah. And I want to piggyback on one thing you said too. We're not replacing, some of our partners, right? Like, that's not our goal. Especially with the credit course program, SRAM, Fox, Shimano, all those, we're like in those deep. All of my students, they have to go through, they have to do the same thing that we do in the shop, right? You got to get your credentials through that too. This is just another layer that's going to make it a little bit better for the entire business, right? It's encompassing the whole business part versus just a brand specific or a product specific element. So when we say micro credential, think of it as like focused, flexible, and stackable. I had to learn a lot about microcredentials in the past 6 months. So it took me a minute to figure it out too. So again, it's like 5 badges that lead to one microcredential. And it's not asking someone to leave their job or sit in the classroom full time, as you said. It's designed for that reality of like 40 hours plus retail work week. How do I take some time and like just get online? I go through like one module or one lesson in the module. I read the lesson plan. I see, again, what are the things that it's asking of me? I do the assignment that goes with it. And then I reflect, right? How do I reflect into how it's working in my business itself, right? So what that looks like in practice, it's short, targeted courses built for specific skills. It's delivered in a format that can fit around work schedules. You don't have to join an online class where we're having a discussion panel at like 6 p.m. tonight. If you're a late owl or night owl like I am sometimes, you can be at 12:30 in the night and like working on this project. Okay, so it really just depends on your schedule. It's immediately applicable. So what you learn today is something that you can actually go put in the stand, or you can talk to your other employees. You can communicate with your staff like right now, today, and go, hey, let's rethink that process, right? We used to do it this way. I'd like to throw out this option now. I've learned this, and I think it's going to be beneficial for our store.
As you're
Yep.
going, you're learning and you're sharing. Yeah, I like that. Like the excitement trickles down.
That's the goal too. And as I like work on these, lessons and modules and such, like that was the thing that kind of really got excited for me too. Is like, I want people to be having these conversations, because that's the problem, is we don't have those conversations in the shops. And then something that we might have even had a great idea, it just gets lost in the waste because we don't take the time to invest in back into the shop or the business, right? So again, it's stackable. Each piece builds towards a larger certification. Again, the 5 badges make the micro-credential. So instead of overwhelming someone with everything at once or 27 credit hours, worth of college coursework, we break this into like manageable wins, and that keeps people moving forward without burning them out.
I like that. I like that. So I'm thinking even shop owner, if it's a smaller shop, the shop owner takes it and can help the mechanics, or as they go through, maybe it's the service manager and then other mechanics, depending on what the shop owner thinks, but it can be something that trickles down. What about the course progression? I know we have, different modules. Is there a logical order? You can purchase the whole micro credential and go through all, or you can just go through certain ones at a time. So maybe just to give our retailers listening thoughts on how that works, if there's a clear pathway or something that you think in your mind is the best way to do this.
Yeah, there is a clear-ish pathway, but there's flexibility built in, right? It's self-paced. So the clearest part is July 1, the Bicycle Service Department Essentials will be available, and that's the first badge. So my goal is kind of everybody kind of start wet their feet with that one, because it gets you also into the mindset of, hey, let me take notes, let me write some stuff down, let me really look at like critically like what I'm doing in the shop here. The other 4 badges, as they roll out as the end of the July, they have more of a technical element. So as they roll out, let's say even if you're starting those like later this fall, or during the down season, you could say, hey, you know what? I'm really confident about, mechanical braking. So let me do that one first, just to kind of boost my like skill set up, and then kind of move forward. But those, again, hopefully will open up technicians to looking critically about how they currently run through the day, how that allows them to make changes from day one. And again, we want that foundation to be strong. The more technical focused badges will allow experienced techs to, solidify current skills. Some tech, bike techs have been in the industry forever, and they're going to be like, yep, I know this. Great. As long as they're doing their assessments, they're doing their stuff, they're going to actually fly through some of this, and newer techs, they're going to need to pace themselves a little bit more as they try new things. Individuals can move faster in areas they already understand, and I do expect individuals to kind of finish all 5 online portions before scheduling the assessment testing, which is on site. So that way, it is structured, but it's not super rigid. And you mentioned the modules. The modules do run like in each course, kind of like in an order. So I do kind of expect that to kind of be more of a rigid element to it. So, structured but not rigid, respects where people are starting from.
Yeah, I think that's good. So people can, I like the first starting one, the Bicycle Service Department Essentials, because I think that is like operationally, it gives like that good background. And then I think you could pick and choose, or what works for your shop. I'm going to get a little bit tough with this one. It's important to me that if our retailer members are doing anything, spending any money, that it's put into something that's going to obviously, hopefully improve their shop's profitability, enhance their staff. It's going to a spot that's going to make things better. All right. So from a profitability standpoint, a shop owner is going to invest in either, themselves, their service manager, or their technicians to come take this. How is this certification going to help the bottom line? I hate to put it that way, but let's just put it that way.
Well, first, we're making it really accessible for NBDA members right now, because again, this is kind of the entry price, and that it's really well priced for our industry. So we debated that a lot, and then we were like, you know what, we want people to do this. We want people to really be a part of this. And so that's why we came to the numbers we came to. From a shops owner perspective, this is about investing in learning for performance gains and for the sake of their staff, right? So constantly we hear shops want faster onboarding, consistent service quality across staff, fewer mistakes and comebacks, right? Stronger customer trust. This certification helps with all those things. New techs, they'll ramp up faster with clear training path. Senior techs will reinforce and standardize best practices. They're going to come back to like, oh yeah, that's how I did that before. Maybe I should get back into that. Service departments, they're going to be more predictable and then efficient, right? And then staff work together to make a better work environment for both themselves and the customer. Always I've seen staff in and working in all the shops I've done, and when they work together on something and they come to an agreement about like how something should be run, especially SOP, and they feel like they are invested in it, then again, they're invested and they really love it and they work together with it. So at the end of the day, that's profitability, right? It's also culture. It's people feeling better working in a place that invests in them.
Question from one of our attendees. What is the cost?
Yeah, absolutely. So the cost, we have it individually. I think it's like $252 per course. Overall, it's $1,250 is the cost right now. It will go up probably in the fall. We haven't figured out when we're going to do that. Again, we wanted to kind of open it up for especially NBDA members and so that people can actually join now.
Excellent. And maybe Megan can put the link to the actual course description and sign up in the chat for our attendees. That'd be awesome.
Perfect.
Let's talk about Northwest Arkansas Community College's expertise, because I do think that that's what really sets this program apart. I've been just blown away with everyone from the college and how you're handling education. So why does it matter that this is housed at a community college that's accredited? Is there anything special or that we should point out? Like, what does that mean for like the credibility for the industry, if you would, Brandon?
Yeah, absolutely. Being housed at an accredited college is a big deal for the industry. It means not just that this is a training program, it's an education backed by accountability. So I sit on a lot of meetings and training sessions to make sure that our program stays on par with like the latest learning methodologies, the strategies. We look at, how we use Canvas and the online platforms. How do we make those better? I have peer reviews from top instructors in other industry areas that I really can learn from, our staff learns from. That brings academic rigor. The content is reviewed, it's measured, it's improved. This isn't something that's static. Like all things, I'm going to sit there and mull on things and go, oh, I want to add this to it. Ooh, that's a really great idea. Or things that we see or bring, even students bring to the course. We're going to start working on that. So again, content is reviewed. We want to improve it. Credibility. This is something technicians can stand behind long term. It's not an organization that will go away in the next few years. I hope the college is going to be here. It's been here for a while. It's going to stay here for a lot longer. Transferability. So the skills and the credits that they can actually use and move with them. Especially if you're doing the credit course program, so you could actually apply that towards an associate's degree and then even further education in the future. One of my big goals is just how that funnel system works from high school students in Project Bike Tech all the way to the college level to in-shop technicians, and as they do more micro-credentials in the future, right? So how does that all funnel together and make just a giant, awesome pipeline for our industry? And it helps elevate the role of the bicycle technician to something recognized beyond just a simple shop or a brand. So other industries have done this. They have accreditations, they have workforce training, they're working with like the Department of Labor, but the bicycle industry just hasn't really done this. They've been behind. So that's where we're at.
Wow. So I have been really impressed with the BIEA program since it started. I'm so happy to see that rolled out. So, not just with you guys, but I think up in Minnesota, if I'm correct right now.
Yep.
And so this is really providing just a great entryway into the bicycle industry for people who, are graduating high school, want to get into the industry, want to make sure they have like a college accredited degree. But maybe some of the retailers on the call today aren't familiar with the BIEA college credit pathway. Can you just like briefly maybe explain how that works?
Yeah. So again, it's it's about accessibility and meeting students where they are. BIA credit program, it's focused more to those who are just starting out in the industry, that want to be bicycle technicians or develop skills that want to be transferable into other bicycle capacities, like travel programs or anything else. Just working in the industry itself, it's a great process. It's also, again, like I said before, I joke with parents, it's a gap year program for graduating from high school and don't want to really fully invest into a full college. That they can, come here and do this program, and then with the certificate, go out and do something else, and go work in the shop, and then figure out really what they want to do with their lives. um, I see it as people who want a career change. I had a student last year who, he has his master's in business. It was a business guy for probably 30 years, and now decided he wanted to do this instead. He wanted to do something he can give back and be, get his hands clean, because we don't get dirty hands, right? But, make sure he's working with his hands and doing something he really enjoys. So, it's for that person who wants something more meaningful and wants something to align to their passions, right? Last week, Jeff Donaldson from Project Bike Tech, which is a great program, and I really want to embrace them more and more as they're growing with high school students. He talked about, the Dave, right? And it's the person who came and hang out the shop all the time, right? So this is a place for those Daves who like come and hang out at the shop, but want or need some full training before being let loose in the service space. So we do have individuals who have been in the industry, for a while, and then those who they really want to just learn, they yearn for that learning, and they want to hone in those technical sides. I think that being here in Bentonville lures a lot of people so that they can come ride trails and learn. That's kind of a fun feature with the credit course program, is because you come live here. We had a student from Iowa who came, I feel like with his whole family, and they did the program in one semester, because again, you can do it in one full, really intensive semester, and then they're heading back to Iowa, which is pretty cool that they have that ability to do that. Another student got a job straight to Truckee, so she left here and went straight to Truckee, and was able to get a job, and that's really awesome that there's those opportunities. So again, Bentonville's great. We all want to stay here, but it still gives you a place to ride some trails, see some cool things, and then go back to wherever you're at for the credit course, wherever you want to live. It's that future technician who wants to start with a skills-based training, earn recognized credentials, and apply that towards a certificate degree over time. I mean, ultimately, it creates upward mobility. Someone can start in service and build towards management, operations, or broader business education of choose, or own their own shop.
Yeah, that bicycle technician program is just something that I'm so thankful that the Bicycle Industry Employers Association created. And I know, from talking with Ben before, it's really like the three things, like technical skills, operational awareness, and just professional growth. We're seeing this in other countries, that people can be college certified for a bicycle technician. It's an actual profession. And that's what we want to see happen here in the US and beyond. So it's 9 college credit courses that get that certificate program, right? And I know in addition to that, as we've been discussing the entire podcast or webinar here, it's in addition our micro-credential program. And then there's community classes that you're hosting too, right? At the college?
Yeah, so we do a lot. We have community classes, we have dealer and brand event stuff that goes on here. We partner with one of the organizations here, Trailblazers. They had their intro to bike class here last week, or 2 weeks ago, the week before Bike Fest. They had 25 adults. It was sold out. There was a waiting list for it, and the yearning for that is just amazing. We have a ride that's coming in tomorrow, that is a memorial ride, and they're going to come by and stop in our space. We're going to help host them and wash their bikes and do a little bit of maintenance for them, because they've been riding since Georgia, and it's just an honor to be able to support like initiatives like that too. So yeah, there's a lot that we do for the community, and we want to continue to do.
There's a lot happening. So we had dozens of our summit attendees who went and visited the facility, and just reported back just how they were amazed at the setup. And especially, it was recognized more than once that there were many partners that are involved in making this happen. I know industry suppliers can get involved with you to make sure that we're all working in partnership to bring more mechanics forward. So, well, how does that look like? So we have a lot of suppliers who are part of the NBDA community. So if any supplier is interested in working with the college, how does that look like? What does that look like, and how do they get involved?
Yeah, thank you for asking that because I'm building partners left and right. And it's not just about branding, it's about strengthening the ecosystem of our cycling industry. Um, if you are a partner and or a brand or industry, like if I haven't talked to you, please reach out, schedule some time with me because I want our students in both programs and really all the programs to have the best possible experience and training. Our programs, like we said, they're not really placements for like SRAM training and S-Tech and Fox or even the brand trainings like Specialized U and Trek U. We use those in our credit courses. We use those every day for required learning. But partnerships, they look like supporting curriculum development tied to real product, providing technical insight and updates, doing little webinars with my students, even just sponsoring students so more shops and techs can participate. People for Bikes and the Mortgage Family Foundation helped sponsor tuition and tools for students last year. That was amazing. So the better trained technicians lead to better customer experiences and fewer warranty issues and a stronger brand trust.
I'm excited to see so many people coming together to support your work. So I had a couple questions. I feel like I had 10 questions for you. So
No,
let's
it's fine.
two questions from our attendees. Attendees, you can use the Q&A feature or the chat feature for your questions. All right, so we have a couple. So the first one is, I have a couple mechanics that I'd like to send at the same time. Is it possible that the two technicians could take the course at the same time so they're learning jointly?
Yes. So they still would need to be in like a separate, class. They have to have their own individual login so they can actually do the individual assessments. But you can have all your service techs actually take the course. And again, it's self-paced and say, hey, as a shop, I want you to have, at least two of you to have it done by X day or something like that. And you can kind of progress. And then depending on your schedules, they can come to the assessment and assess at the same time too. So ultimately, when the assessment happens, the way that will work is, either myself or one of the other instructors, again, following the rubrics and the stuff that we've already outlined, they'll actually go through with the student and we'll have, my goal is a ratio of 6-to-1 so that, we can actually test up to six students per instructor for that testing facility.
Excellent. Thank you. Great question. All right. So another one has come in asking about the Bicycle Service Department Essentials. Does this course cover a bicycle check-in or service shop check-in procedure?
So yes, and maybe not always to the degree that we always want, right? If you have talked to other dealers, we all have our own opinions of how service check-in or service advising or service writing, depending on how you phrase it, goes. It talks about how do you take the one that you have and what are you looking for as efficiencies and inefficiencies? Where are the misses, right? So if you have one, great, let's improve it. If you don't have one, great, let's start from scratch and let's create one that will be easier for techs to understand when they're actually getting the work and they're not losing time because they can't read a response or the line says brakes don't work. Nobody, that's not going to help a tech, right? You need to be very specific about what was the customer complaint, what's going on in that process, right? So we do spend a little bit of time doing that. I will say it is a micro-credential. The BIA credit course program, we spend a lot more time on all these different things because we're also in-house. But we try to hit all of our kind of essentials in that essentials course.
Excellent. I see one more. Great questions, attendees. Keep them coming. So one more. How long are the certifications good for? Will my technicians need to be retested in a year or two?
That's a great question. And I'm recalling in my conversations of how we set this micro-credential up. It is not a credential at this time that will need to be reapplied for. Like Wilderness First Aid, you have to re-up every few years, right? Or especially with medical world. Again, this is the the entry point microcredential. In the future, hopefully we'll have additional microcredentials in a few years. But at this point, we don't have this as something that you have to redo every 3 years or something of that such.
Yeah, that's what I recall as well. So thank you for that. Oh, another question came in. Do I need to have any software, specific software for my techs to take these courses on?
Yeah, so that's been the fun part is like specific software or like what do you even have in your shop? Can I like help you teach it or how do I teach that with not knowing what's in everybody's shop? We're working on when we look at our programs and our lessons, everything's going to be shown on the screen, whether it's a slides presentation or screenshots of what to expect, especially with the electronic systems for drivetrain. So with those, you do not have to necessarily have that software at that time. And then when you come here for the assessment, we will provide what you need for the assessment itself.
Excellent. Attendees, any other questions? There's some good questions, right, Brandon? We got them coming in. All right.
But
I don't see any other questions from our attendees at this point. So I guess that brings us to the end of today's session. Brandon, thank you so much for the work you've done to work with the NBDA to bring this discussion forward, to bring this micro-credential forward, and for the time that was spent at the summit last week. I know it was extremely busy, but you had a lot of questions and talked to a lot of retailers. Was the summit a good experience for you?
It was a great experience. I mean, I always wanted to have more conversations with dealers, and that was a really fun environment for me to be in. So thank you again for allowing us to be there.
Thank you. And we did have one final question. Are there plans for more courses covering different topics to be introduced in the future?
That's the goal, right? Like I said, this is the start, and with this partnership and then continuous education, we want continuous ed. When that'll happen, we'll see, but that's the goal for us.
Excellent. Yeah. And for our attendees, I just put the link to the program on the NBDA website. Megan has shared it earlier directly to the Northwest Arkansas Community College. We're really excited to roll this forward, to see the feedback from retailers, and to just train more mechanics, more qualified service technicians with the NBDA seal of approval. Brandon, thank you to you and the Northwest Arkansas Community College team for helping us drive this forward. And any questions that anyone didn't answer today or that come to anyone when reviewing this at a future recording or listening, please reach out. It's heather@nbda.com, and I'll make sure we get the correct answer to you.
We all know that running a retail business isn't just about selling bikes. It's about efficient operations and great customer experiences. And with Lightspeed, you can stay on top of it all. Manage everything from sales and inventory to work orders, all in one place. Source products directly in your POS and make smarter decisions with powerful reporting. Learn how Lightspeed helps bike retailers work smarter at lightspeedhq.com. That's lightspeedhq.com.
Thanks for spending time with us on Bicycle Retail Radio. If this episode resonated with you, subscribe and share it with another retailer who could use the insight. Join us every week for new conversations and fresh perspectives to keep you ahead of the curve. The NBDA is constantly creating events, webinars, and resources built specifically for bicycle retailers. Check out what's coming up at nbda.com. Shout out to Francis Abbott for today's graphics. Interested in sponsoring an episode or know someone we should talk to? Head to nbda.com. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time.